He goes, I hurt all over. And I go,
every day
that's
is
not
leg
going
day.
to
Eat more.
change.
Every day is what? Every day is leg day.
Every day is leg day.
I go, that's not going to change. You're old.
Yeah.
Like, you're just older now. There's a degree where that
The
just
problem
doesn't
of being
change.
a millennial.
I hung up on him at that point.
Yeah, something happened.
Something we got
did lose.
disconnected.
We got disconnected. And then,
Yeah, and then I had to call him back because I still didn't know what
right,
to
I
do.
let it go to voicemail a couple of times just to make him
I'm supposed to get
you know?
protein today. So,
Right,
yeah,
I gave him-
creatine.
You just need to eat a bunch of protein.
Protein and creatine.
Well, so
No,
starting
don't
it
take
today.
creatine. You don't need that.
I'm
so
doing
he's-
it.
He
Ask Greg how that's going. Anyway.
No, that is not. I will tell you about that later. But that is not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's not an issue. You're bad, man. You're mean. You're fine. Creatine is the most studied and safe supplement ever, like in sports medicine nutrition.
Unless
So,
your name's Greg Schwartz.
it's not. Listen, okay. I'm going back for blood work. I'm fine.
Jeez, what? You don't kick that off with that. I'm supposed to.
Anyway, so we're going to be
start
talking
this
about...
That's very heavy. I don't think the podcast
Going
is
back
to
to
be
blood
that heavy
work.
to start.
I will go over the science with you later. It's fine. It's
Katie
not.
Beth.
It has nothing to do.
What?
What
comment?
questions
Don't
you
touch
have?
me. Don't touch me.
Listen, this is guys.
Don't
this
touch
is-
me.
This is stop it.
You should call
stop
me,
it.
not him.
No. He doesn't know what he's. Well, you do. You know exactly, and you know. If you would say it, it's not.
I don't know
he's not
about
he's not,
any of this
He's
anymore.
trying. He's a fear monger.
Katie Beth
That's
is in
what
charge.
he's doing.
Yes,
She's
well,
talking.
We
Let
have
her
guys.
talk.
This is a very special podcast of nothing. We have a very special guest here, Katie.
We're
Beth,
breaking
this morning.
hippo.
And she's gonna join us for some episodes, but she's also joining us for the podcast Nothing, and she's got some topics for us. Usually we just kind of riff, but
We'll
she's
talk
gonna help
about
us riff.
creatine.
She's
No,
got
I'm
a-
going to change the subject right
Good.
here. I don't know
Good.
how we got onto that subject, but it's all right. It's really
Just
good to be
happened.
with all of you guys
Hold on a
today.
second, Katie Beth. Harry, can you make sure she sounds real quiet to me? I don't know.
Yeah, she does sound quiet.
If I want to make sure she's
Okay,
being heard.
talking,
she's much
talking,
Much better,
talking.
much better.
Oh, okay, good.
All right,
okay,
go ahead, Katie Beth.
yeah.
Beth, hit
So anyway, no, I'm really excited to be here on the podcast today. I really like listening to all the things that you have to talk about, and I have opinions about Marvel, Dune, and Star Wars today.
Yo, she's a big Dune head, man.
How much time do we have?
Well,
well, the reason too, I've
How much
took
Dune
some
have you
notes.
read? How much Dune
quite
have you
a few
read?
books,
Okay.
at least 10.
10 books?
At least
okay.
10 books.
It's a respectable number. Okay.
Yes. No. So
How many times have you read those 10 books?
once.
Okay.
But
and
I'm
then
working on
which
it.
10 books? Because that's also important.
The first 3 of the original.
Okay.
And then I'm familiar with the story just because there's a lot of, like, I know what's going to happen. Because I have people
do you know
who...
the change?
Yes.
Do you know the pivot at the end?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. It's-
that's not fun to learn
I
not
know,
having
but
read it.
like I started to get to know different people who were interested, and I've listened to what you've
So
had
wait,
to share.
but there's 3, but then what other 7 have you read?
It's like several prequels.
Okay,
written
but
with-
which prequels? Because that's
Okay.
important. I'm just telling you. You said Dune. You opened this
No,
Pandora's box.
I know.
This
Well-
is on you. This blood is on your hands.
Carry on.
we gotta show she dressed up
Lady-
as a Bene Gesserit
Yes, I did.
for the.
I did see that.
Did you
I
see it on
actually saw that. It was
Facebook?
awesome.
No,
Yeah, it was
okay,
awesome.
so
Cool.
my history of
Yeah.
Dune is that I watched the 1984 version in 2020.
Awful.
David Lynch.
I know, but the story really piqued my
Actually,
interest. The story piqued my interest.
I have
good
to
gateway
say, the first half of the movie is very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very accurate movie until he ends up with the Fremen, and then he has to teach them the weirding way.
Which is not
and
in the book at
that's
all.
when it all goes south real fast.
Right.
Well,
No pun intended
then
with
you're
the
right.
actual movement
To the
south.
south, ride that worm to the south.
Sorry, go ahead.
no, so then because of that, then I wanted to read the story.
Yeah.
Have you all read the books too?
No.
I read
okay,
half
it's just a Logan
of the
and Kate.
first
That's
one.
good,
I
which
read
is
the
good.
first one.
It's good.
This is a me, and he's read the first one.
Because I've
First
been
book.
reading them,
Half.
I've been educating all of my friends, which
He
is
gave
also
up
the
at
people.
the worst possible time.
Oh,
Yeah, getting married is the worst time to
He
stop
started-
reading
No.
a book.
Wait, is
No,
it, is
no,
it
no, no,
half
no,
the-
I'm
half
saying-
the actual book or the graphic novel.
The real book.
Okay.
No,
'cause
no,
you
no,
gave
no,
him the
no.
graphic
I
novel.
gave
I
you
did
the
give you the. I write like 3 pages
I'm
in that.
saying
So.
the first half is what lays the groundwork
Yeah,
for the
it
second
gets really
half.
exciting
It
in the
gets
second
so
half.
much better in the second
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
So you gave up, like you were like, I made it through the worst part or the hardest part. Now I'm done.
It wasn't like
He
a.
reprioritized.
It wasn't like I don't like this. It was like
Right.
I got busy.
He
You got busy.
reprioritized.
Okay. All right, Katie
no,
Beth.
and
Go ahead.
then No, well, because then I got interested in the story, and then right about that time, they had announced that Dune Part 1 was going to be released.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I wanted to get to know the story
Of
more.
course.
I watched it in theaters, and like everyone, I really enjoyed it. And there were some people that said it was a little slow. I don't know where they're going, but I really like the director, Denis Villeneuve.
Oh,
They were
yeah,
So
he's
unbelievable.
going
phenomenal.
into that, I don't know how many of you have watched other movies by Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot.
Blade Runner,
Okay,
2024.
Blade Runner,
you're
he
big
also
fans
did
of.
Arrival.
Arrival is
Sicario.
That's a rough one.
Yep.
There's some
Yeah,
heavy.
Sicario.
there's some heavy
Sicario
ones.
is no. I was saying Arrival's a rough
Arrival
one.
is
That's
rough.
a brain mess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
and Sicario is quite violent, but I like
Oh,
the
yeah,
way
it
that
is.
he films everything and carries the characters. So, all that to say, I know some of you are very frustrated that there were some changes in Dune Part 2. Yes, I know. You're
me.
raising your hand.
We're not filming. They can't see you.
But
Yeah,
I really,
we are.
I
No, we're
have
not.
faith.
You
I have
decided
faith
not
in the
to?
director.
You said do what's easiest for me. So I said I'm not going to film it.
Okay.
Yes, no,
So,
but it's fine.
continue.
I have faith in
Continue.
the director, and I know you're very frustrated with
Yeah.
the twist.
Yeah.
But the thing is, my opinion is he's a good filmmaker.
I
He's
agree.
a good
True.
cinematographer. He's opening the Dune lore because it's cool to go see Dune right now.
Yeah.
Before, it was not cool.
Oh no, it wasn't.
But
That's true.
because the 1984 version was kind of dreadful, there's a 2000 version with James
yeah.
McAvoy, yeah.
Oh
It's-
yeah, that's
that
the
is-
sci-fi
it's clear
versions I
to
love.
the-
Yeah,
it's clear
Sci-Fi
to
Channel.
the book, or like true to the book.
It
But
is.
again, sometimes it's a little too strange for people to really take seriously. So my point is, even though Denis Villeneuve changed some key points, I have faith he's going to tie it all together, and more people wanted to go see it, and now they will read the books and they can make their own comparisons.
So I
healthy
want
point of view.
to clarify something. We said this before. I thought if you go and you watch the movie
Sure.
and you have no background with the book,
Yeah.
that's a phenomenal movie.
Yes.
One of the best sci-fi films
I would
in a long
actually
time.
argue that it sets up in a very cool way. If you're just saying we're just going to watch the movies and we're not going to read the books, I don't have an issue with it then.
Yeah.
Like I have zero issue with it then.
Sure.
But the problem is it's Dune, and I know what's coming in Dune Messiah. I know what needs to be set up for that to be for that to stay true to the Dune Messiah novel.
Right.
So the way that it ends and having Chani go off on her own wherever
Riding off
she's
on a
going.
sandworm.
Right. And not join. Oh
There's
my,
no
what was that?
resolution. There's no resolution.
Right. Well,
the-
and devastating to the like setup for Dune Messiah because you're jumping ahead
Yeah.
in Dune Messiah 9 years.
Yeah.
So
But we've talked about this before.
Right.
Are they going to?
Well,
is he
so
going to
there
make
is a
his
novel
third
in between.
book, right, about the jihad?
and they're not well,
That's
he
called
is calling
Paul of
it and
Atreides, or
saying
Paul of Dune.
Paul of Dune is the
I've
Dune
read that
is
one.
the Dune in
That's
between.
another one I've read.
It's a very good novel.
So wait,
it's actually one of the better ones.
That was the post.
So did the director come out and said he's doing
Dune Messiah.
Paul of Dune, or
No,
did
he's
he-
doing Dune Messiah.
Okay.
but he's drawing from all of the lore.
Okay,
So
so there could be part of Paul of Dune in Dune Messiah.
There could
as
be.
his movie.
There could be, but this then draws into the point of like you're saying you're doing Dune Messiah.
Right.
And I don't know how you're going to do Dune Messiah
Right.
and stay true to the novel when Chani
Is separated from Dune, or from
not
Paul.
just separated from Paul, but she is essentially disenfranchised with the entire jihad movement and Paul,
Yeah.
where she is his most avid supporter in
Right.
Dune. She is straight up a Fedaykin who is completely invested behind Paul. There are literally points in the novel where she kills people who are coming to challenge Paul because they are not worthy of dying by his blade.
Well,
like it's it's a very different take on Chani. So
True believer.
I
Well,
don't-
wait, I have one comment though.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
okay, do you know when Frank Herbert wrote the original Dune?
Yes.
At the very end, when Chani stays, because she's the concubine and he marries Irulan for
Yes.
political reasons. A lot of people who were reading it, like the sci-fi, they're like, "Oh, Paul's the hero. It's so great." The thing is, that's why he wrote Dune Messiah.
I know
to
that
present
yeah.
that he was not a hero.
Right,
So
right.
Denis Villeneuve knew that, and he knew that if Chani, Zendaya's character, stayed with Paul, it was presenting that Paul was the hero because she accepted him.
Yeah, but
And-
if he was true to the
I know, but I don't think people would have felt because
right. But wouldn't that twist be just as good as it was when they read the book? Like, because then people are like, "Ooh, he wasn't the hero. He's actually the villain."
Hit or miss,
Yeah.
depending.
And
the
here's
the people who haven't read the book would be like, "Oh, I'm not watching this again."
I said this.
Maybe. Yeah.
I said this to Greg.
Yeah.
The point that broke it for me, I didn't mind that they were doing that sort of conflict where again, you're right, because Frank Herbert wrote the novel. Paul is not the hero.
Nope.
Right.
And that is a point he wants to make why Dune Messiah is so important of a novel.
Right.
However, I had an issue. The point that broke me, where it made the biggest problem in setting up, is Chani leaving. If she just, at the end of that novel, is angry, frustrated, like really heartbroken because of the situation with him marrying the princess, like if she had just stayed, but then been that counterpoint of frustration, anger, like you're drawing in that question of like, what's really happening here?
Right.
I don't have a problem. I'm
Right.
fine, because you're right. They need to do some foreshadowing to set up for Dune Messiah. That's fine. But her leaving on a worm and being gone is the problem.
Well, can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah.
To back up that point,
Yeah.
is that in the books I feel like it was more so, but in the movies it was also there that Chani, the only thing that kind of rivals her love for Paul is her love for her people and her belief in Paul, that Paul is going to fix, like going to help save her people. That,
right.
Like, this is what's best for the people of Arrakis. And so in
Arrakis.
I know I said Arrakis for so many times,
trying to
like,
figure
before
out
we
what
saw
you
the
meant.
movie.
Arrakis.
Well, there's so many things that when we were reading them,
we were like,
you're
oh, how do
probably
you say
like in
that?
your mind of like, how does that
But-
actually pronounce?
So to go to your point is that, like, it would have been better if she was like, "Oh, I'm angry at Paul, but I still believe that this is the best course of action for my people. So I'm gonna be that counterbalance, and I'm not gonna go away in like a hissy fit and stay on the planet.
Sure.
I'm gonna stay with him to make sure
Go
it
in a
happens."
hissy fit.
Well, it was. 'Cause it was like if she
It was.
truly believed in her people, then she's like, I'm gonna go through to make sure I see it through. Because now I don't trust my lover. You know, I'm
Right.
gonna go
Yeah,
and
yeah.
make sure it happens. I'm not gonna stay here and sit while he ruins everything.
Well, I have faith in the director, and also he's
I love the director.
He's making a trilogy. You know, whenever a second movie ends, it's kind of interesting because you're like, oh, we're trying to get somewhere, and the point is, I don't think we're where we're supposed to get with Denis Villeneuve's vision.
Yeah,
Sure, he's got an ending
don't,
to tell.
I don't disagree with you. I think
that's
there
why I
is
said we should have
opportunity.
Yeah.
This whole podcast is about like the novels, the comic, nothing. Thank you, sir. Excellent contribution, Harry. I appreciate it.
It's about nothing.
Carry on.
Correct.
Is the correction and the trueness to graphic novels, to science fiction, to these different things.
Right.
And I love the novel, and it's like, if we change this one thing, how does that have a ripple effect for the future pieces? And so I have concern around us starting to stray away from trueness here that will then set up for a lack of alignment in the future. And so that's where my concern comes in, because there hasn't been intention around him saying he's gonna do Children of Dune yet.
Sure.
And so if we're not gonna do Children of Dune,
Right, if he's ending at a trilogy.
and he's ending at a trilogy, how true are we saying to Dune Messiah?
Well, we'll just find
We'll have to
out,
wait and see.
I'm excited about that. Going on a random passage.
Great.
If Nicolas Cage was in Dune, which character would he be?
Emperor.
I was
The
gonna
Emperor.
say, that's exactly what I was gonna say, the
100%.
Emperor.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
What do you
There's
think?
no doubt.
What
He'd
do
be
you
a
think, Harry?
phenomenal Emperor.
Nick Cage, who would he play?
Truthfully, he could
Either
play
that
any
or the-
role.
either that or
he could
the-
play
The
any
worm.
role.
The Worm.
The worm. My man. Yeah.
I was gonna say either the Emperor or the Baron. He would be a good Baron too.
He could be a good Baron.
He'd be a
He
good
could
Baron.
also be
This
a
is a
good
Duke Leto.
No,
Count
no.
Fenring.
Oh,
he's
Fenring.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That was left out of the whole movie.
Yes, I know. Well,
He was cut out.
He would have been
Count
very
Fenring is so
believable.
key.
No, yes, he is.
He is very
Yes.
key.
So anyway,
Count
okay.
Fenring is a good one.
That's a really good one. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
who I would have thought.
That's
too.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
I could also see him as a good portrayal of Gurney Halleck. I could
That's
really
right.
like
You
him
were
as
too
Gurney
much
Halleck.
into the Josh
Yeah.
Brolin version in
Well,
part
they just
two.
made him
Part two,
they made him not a joyous, happy.
Right. He was too beaten up.
Yeah.
Because
He has to have a pivot. It's like
Yeah.
two sides.
Well-
he has two sides: the warrior
Yeah.
and the troubadour. And
Right.
we didn't get that. We only
Well,
got the warrior.
and
We got him plucking.
the troubadour.
We got him plucking the instrument for a little bit, and then that was it.
But that's the beauty of out of his slavery, out of his pain.
Yeah.
The Duke was able to bring something beautiful, and we didn't get to see the beautiful part.
No.
In this movie,
No.
Whereas if you go back into like the David Lynch, that's kind of all we saw with Patrick Stewart. He was just kind of more the jovial.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite as much of the. I didn't really believe Patrick Stewart could be the warrior.
Yep.
I can believe Josh
It
Brolin
needs
could
to
be the warrior.
It needs to be
Captain John Luke.
holistic.
Because
Can't just be one
of the
side.
USS Enterprise. I believe Josh Brolin could be the jovial part, though. Like, he's a very happy dude.
They could have
in
let him.
real
They
life.
just didn't write him that
They
way.
shouldn't write him that
They
way.
didn't
Yeah,
let him
exactly
do
right.
it.
Exactly right.
Okay, continuing along with Nicolas Cage, who should he be in Marvel?
Wait. Last bit.
Oh,
I bet you he could have actually played an age-appropriate Paul Atreides, though.
Age appropriate.
Paul
A
Atreides.
16-year-old.
No. He
Paul
would play the
Atreides.
16-year-old. I think he could do
Yeah,
it.
I think he could do it. I mean, they just de-age him.
No, they wouldn't even have to.
I'm 16.
He
He
looks
just walks
so.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Paul Atreides.
So much eyes.
I mean, he
So
hasn't
much.
really aged. He hasn't really
No,
aged
he
as an
hasn't.
actor.
I
You know.
know.
Hey, he
totally
has.
Rebel
He's got
against
some
my
rankles.
parents.
What are you
It's from all the
talking about?
castles. It's from all the castles.
I
Stuff
don't-
that
I don't-
ages you.
Heavy as a head.
Heavy as a
Heavy
head.
as a head.
Lies the crown
Where's
of the
cra-
castles.
of debts.
Yes.
How many castles do
All
you
right,
have?
so Nicholas
the
Cage
only-
in the
it's
MCU
the only
Yeah,
stat that
so
matters.
besides he was Spider-Man Noir in Into the Spider-Man.
and Ghost Rider.
And Ghost Rider,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
not that. Those
He's
are not
Spider-Man
MCU.
Noir in the live-action Spider-Man Noir TV show. It's coming out.
Oh my!
Yeah, so he's already kind of that. But I don't think that's actually MCU related. But he is the live-action.
That's a really good
But
question.
who would he be in the MCU?
I think he
do we
just should have
think?
taken over Stan Lee's position. Randomly just show up in
but
an episode
as Nick Cage or as Stan
as
Lee?
Nick Cage.
Like playing Stan. Like if he
It's half and half.
Yeah,
Both.
yeah.
Why not have
Play
both?
both roles.
Yeah.
Play both roles.
You know, he
Yeah.
probably yeah.
He's Nick Cage playing Stan Lee
Yeah.
in an MCU movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's his name did
Yeah.
in all Sam Raimi's? What's his name?
Oh yeah, Ash from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Oh my word, what's his name?
Charles
Bruce Campbell.
No,
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
It was a
He's in every
C.
single- yeah, he's the pizza balls guy in the Doctor
Pizza
Strange.
balls.
It's like, it's over when it's finally done. What if Nick Cage was a fourth wall breaker like Deadpool, and he was actually just Nick Cage playing Stan Lee in the MCU movies? He has the script, he knows. Kind of like when Stan Lee had the script in Mallrats, like
Is
what
this-
if he's actually
Is
just
this
being Nick
question
Cage?
like
A
who-
serious one. Who could he actually play in the MCU?
Yeah, but like somebody who isn't already cast.
Yes,
like,
yeah,
are we
yeah.
trying to figure out
Let's
or
bring him in.
replace him?
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
Yes, he could. I could see him in those fluffy.
He's
tights.
done more ridiculous things.
He has. Ah, man, that's a good question though. Like
I don't know.
actually, who he could play?
What, and hasn't been
I've got
played
I've
yet?
got a good one. I don't think they could do it though, just in the way like, time frame wise. But maybe in an alternate universe, he could be a good Norman Osborn, a good Green Goblin,
Yeah.
like a good alternate reality
Or
Green
even
Goblin.
Doc Ock. He would.
Oh yeah, Doc Ock wouldn't be bad. He needs to get a little more portly for that though. Doc
I
Ock's always a
think-
bigger dude, not a Nick Cage.
Listen,
kinda.
Nick Cage almost played Superman.
No, Doc Ock was a woman.
true.
He did.
As
That's
the
true.
woman
In-
scientist
in-
He did play
into
Superman.
Into the Spider-Verse.
No, he
That's right.
did play.
Catherine
He
Hahn.
did
Yeah,
play
that-
Superman.
He
He
did.
did
Wow,
play
that's
in
Superman.
the Flash. Does
In
the Flash
the
exist?
Flash.
Did
Yes,
you know?
he did. He showed up. My friend and
He
I,
did.
we were watching The Flash, and it's all bad. But then we got to the part where there's Nicolas Cage as Superman.
But they just
He
they
did.
stole
He
stole
did
his
it.
face though. In an interview, he came out and said that that's not what he filmed. He did not film fighting a giant monster.
yeah.
Right.
He filmed just staring at the world blowing up, and that's all they did. And they just took his face and made a whole scene.
That's good.
well,
yeah.
thank you for explaining that because
I
Who-
think
who for
he
real? Who
could
for real?
play. I think he should play
Should.
Lock
play.
it in.
the Living Tribunal as a character.
Oh yes,
Like a real living
a
truth.
real
Yeah.
living
living
tribunal.
tribunal.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
three heads of Nicolas Cage
He could, yeah.
all arguing with each other at different points.
Oh,
Like
man,
Con
that would be
Air,
good. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage hair.
Yeah.
What else?
Nicolas Cage.
Well, it has
Con
to have,
Air
you have to have
hair.
the Rock.
Face Off.
You have to have the Rock,
Rock
and
and
Face
Rock.
Off.
And
Those
Face
are the
Off.
three classics.
But
You
in-
should have worn your shirt.
But
yeah,
in Face Off,
I had it in hand, and I was like,
Cage
am I
match.
going this or am I
in
going
Face
Nick
Off,
Cage?
but the thing is, that tribunal head, would it be him or would it be Travolta?
Well, I think we have to leave that up for
Would it
question
be- I
because
think it should
if
be
it is
Travolta.
That's a whole nother
Travolta's face,
podcast
No,
of nothing.
he's still playing
His
it
voice,
underneath.
though. Yeah,
It's his
Travolta's
voice.
face, his voice.
Yeah,
I think
it's
so.
true.
Well, so the reason I brought up Nicolas Cage is because that's a famous person that you always talk about on the podcast. And
I
I
love
listen,
him.
so people need to
I
listen
love
if you
him.
like Nicolas Cage. But my thing is, do you think if we had more big names in Marvel, that would help people with Marvel fatigue?
No.
For example, okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's the problem.
That's the problem. We're
I
getting
think that's
too
the
many
problem.
big
We have
people.
too many. We have
Pedro
too many
Pascal
big
is
names.
a mistake, even though he might be
That's
good.
an immediate no.
Right.
He's a mistake, I think.
Sure.
Just because he's too.
Well,
young.
I mean, and also think we had Charlize Theron just
Right.
show
Yeah, but
up
nothing
for
happened.
Show up
Sure.
and walk off.
She
Well, is she
showed
gonna come
up.
back? Do you think?
Clea had better come back.
She's not.
Because she's the
There's no
daughter
way.
of freaking Dormammu.
Not
she
happening.
does not come back.
Won't see her again.
Listen, if Kate's mom's not coming back,
Kate's
then
mom. Kate's mom is coming back just as Mephisto.
I think you need to realize. I think you need to realize they're in this phase 4.
Yeah.
The way that they've gone
Phase
back
4 was a
and
mistake.
they've been able to bring some of the older older characters back that were outside of the MCU, like Liv Tyler.
Liv
that was a
Tyler.
great
Yeah, that's
little
right.
callback.
good
That's
grab.
fun.
Also,
But-
she's like a D-rated actress
Right.
because she hasn't
But
come
you
back.
brought in Charlize
Arwen,
Theron,
She's 30 years.
and you're not going to make. They're not going to do anything with her in Phase 4. Like Phase 4
Probably not.
follow through is not happening.
Well, Phase 4 is
it's
over. at
Not
this point.
happening.
It's
Right.
just gonna. It's just got Doomsday.
Everything
And,
that happened as after credit scenes,
right.
in
we've
Phase
talked
4
about this. It doesn't
is
exist.
not going to happen.
Well,
That's too bad.
One has happened. One has happened, and we
What?
talked about that. We talked about this last time.
Which one? No, but remind me. Just remind me, because you're
so
probably
at
right.
the
I will
end-
probably admit that,
at
but
the
just
end
remind
of-
me.
Well, I did because you said I was right the last time. At the end of Black Widow, what's her name? What's the new Black Widow's name?
Elena.
Elena.
Yelena.
Yeah, right?
Yelena.
Yelena. I was like, that's
Florence
not right.
character.
Yelena, yeah, right. Florence Pugh's. Yelena was approached by Madame Hydra or Valentine.
Yes,
which
okay.
we don't know if she's actually
But
Madame
is
Hydra.
that- see, here's the
it was
problem.
because she told her, "Here's how you find Clint Barton, the guy who killed your
Yes, but
sister."
that's
and then
not-
she went in the Hawkeye TV show to kill Clint Barton. So that was
You're
had
right.
the payoff. On
You
that
are
one.
right
That's
on
it.
the payoff.
It's the
of
only
that.
payoff.
But my issue with that is I don't even know if I consider Black Widow
An
a
actual
Phase
MCU movie?
4.
It is technically because here's the deal.
It was written as a Phase 1.
It was agreed, but that doesn't mean that timeline wise, it ends after Endgame. It ends after Spider-Man: No Way Home.
All right, whatever.
And Spider-Man: Far From
Well,
Home.
It's not worth an argument. Everything
My
else
point
doesn't.
is,
Everything else
what
has
do you
no.
think will help people like me who have Marvel fatigue, improve? And I'm going to
Make
give you a
good
little
movies.
background.
Make
For
good
example,
Read comic
I-
books and
I like
don't watch
watching-
movies.
I like watching the Marvel movies. I was talking
Right.
to Brett, like I was into it from like 2010 to 2019. It was something
Oh,
fun
yeah.
to go and watch
Yes.
overseas. We watched
you
with
weren't into
subtitles
it during that
to
time,
cheer-
go back
to
and
cheer
watch
people
all of
up.
them.
And I don't know the comic books as much. That's why I listen to the podcast so I can be educated, which I
Right.
really appreciate. I'm at the place where I'm really trying to watch the Marvel shows. I try to watch the movies.
Yeah.
There's some and I agree with you all. I do not like Eternals. I do not like
Not
the
good.
Marvels.
Not good.
And then some of the shows were interesting, like Secret Invasion. Well, that
Not
was
good.
also very difficult for me to take serious because Gravik was a Ken in the Barbie movie.
He
So-
was Ken in the Barbie movie.
So,
Yes.
and even
Not
though
wrong.
Amelia Clark, the other,
I like her as an actress.
What are the aliens called?
She's a Skrull.
Scroll.
Yeah.
Skrull,
yeah.
She is very
She's Gaia.
believable, but
Yep.
and I like to watch these shows because they have these people I like, but it's hard. So, what is advice for people like me to try to get over Marvel fatigue?
So there's only
Pop an aspirin and get to bed.
there's only one
Thank you. All right, good idea.
there's only one
Yes.
thing that matters, and it's making good movies. That's
Yes,
the only
agreed,
thing.
agreed.
Like and being true to the
That's
comics,
what
like,
that's what they need to do.
Right,
She's
right,
asking
right.
what she needs
can
to
do.
do.
Oh, what
Here-
you want
here,
to
here,
do?
I've got it.
Give up?
Pop an aspirin and go to bed.
Yeah, listen to Harry.
You stop going to the movies until we say they're good.
Yeah.
You eat a steak, drink a glass of
drink a glass
scotch,
of
put
scotch.
some wet socks on, and go to bed.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's
exactly right.
honestly,
Maybe watch Parks and Rec all the way through, and
Yeah.
then after that, maybe revisit the movies.
honestly, at this point, I would go to the ones that the characters interest you most.
Okay.
And
That's
not,
a good point.
Not try and just go to see all of them because
Right.
there's a point where it's like Well, I've got to see them all so I know what's happening.
Right.
And
Right.
that used to be what the MCU is kind of about. It's not been that way so much. Most of these movies in Phase 4 you could watch and not have seen the other ones, and it really wouldn't matter.
Right.
So at this point, until we start getting cohesion, I would just be like, I like the Fantastic Four. I'm going to go see that. I don't really know anything about Thunderbolts, so I'm not going to go see it. Right. And then if you hear that's like really, really great, then maybe go see it. But like at this point, until they get back on track, all you can really do
That's really
is
good
well,
advice.
no, that's
and
really
I
good
rarely
advice
say
for
that
me and
about
other
anything
people.
Greg
Like,
says.
yeah, because I'm excited to watch any more Black Panther movies if
You're
they
right.
make any more.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi.
Yes,
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi 2 is apparently filming now.
Okay,
not.
that's what. Well, if it is, I hope that's
That dude
another
is-
movie.
Simu Liu, he wants to. He
Yeah,
wants to
he's
so
an-
bad.
yeah,
He was
but he's a
another Ken in
decade
the Barbie
older.
movie.
He was another Ken. You're right, but he was. I mean, I don't know if he
Maybe
was a
just
good
watch
Ken,
the
but he was a
Barbie
good.
Yeah, maybe just watch the
Shang-Chi.
Barbie movie. It might be better.
Yeah, Ryan
This
Gosling's
sounds
in
like-
it.
This sounds, and this
And
is our
Margot Robbie.
crossover
She's
into the
in-
Yeah,
Barbie
Suicide
universe.
Squad.
Yeah, Harley Quinn's in it, and
I dressed
Yeah.
up as Harley Quinn to go see the Harley Quinn movie.
That was
2020.
the Birds of Prey one.
Yes.
my joke.
still have
Was
not seen
my
it. Were you
joke
alone
might
in
be
the movie
serious
theater?
Of like, just go watch the Barbie movie.
No, I wasn't.
Birds of
Surprised there was anyone
Birds of
there.
Prey did well at the very beginning because everyone I think wanted to see Margot Robbie, and then everyone realized it wasn't a great movie, and they started
Right.
seeing it.
Oh,
It
well,
didn't do
it
well
was
in the
just
box office.
fun to
Yeah.
watch, and that was a big step because it's R-rated for violence. So there were a few parts I didn't watch, like when they cut off the people's faces, and then when
Yep.
she like broke people's legs with
Yeah.
a post or something, and I was like, okay, I didn't need to see
Good
that.
old-
But
I
Ewan
want to go back
McGregor-
to
Ewan
her one
McGregor as
question.
Black
Yes,
Mask
yes.
was
Really quick.
go back.
She
perfect,
asked, should we
What'd
be
you say?
doing more big names? And I think we
Right.
forget, like, when
Right, they're
the
nobodies.
Marvel Universe started, the only big name, and he wasn't actually that big of a name, was Robert Downey Jr. Because he was bouncing back from
Drugs.
like being like
Rehab and
Yes,
everything.
all
No.
on the outside.
Sam Jackson was the biggest.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Sam
I
He was
apologize.
definitely the
You're right.
biggest.
He was
But
the
he was
biggest
not- he
name.
wasn't
Chris
lead,
Evans had a
but-
few movies, but
Right,
he wasn't huge.
But we're talking
He had a
about,
few
like,
movies, but he wasn't big.
Right, he had Scott Pilgrim
We
and he
think-
had Scary Movie, right? He was in Scary Movie.
When we think
might have been
back,
more, but
no, it's
those are-
not another teen movie.
Not another teen movie, that's
But
it.
when we
Yeah.
think
Look at the
back,
picture of
we
himself.
look at all of those
Yeah.
Phase 1 characters, and
Right,
we were like,
right.
man, they got really big names. Not at the time.
At the time, they
They
were
were
Not at the
no.
time.
nobodies.
They're big names now because they did this.
Yes.
Like, so no, we
ScarJo.
should actually
ScarJo
not.
was kind of big.
I don't know.
No,
even
she wasn't. We
yet.
actually just talked about
No.
this
That's
at
right,
work.
that's right, that's right.
She had like 2 movies.
Lost in Translation,
Yeah.
and then some
There was
other.
another
And
one.
so
Yeah,
I
you're
think,
right, you're right,
no.
you're right.
I think what they need
Yeah.
to do is invest in some up and coming talent.
Yes.
Right.
And,
And you know who's doing
start
that?
positioning them really well.
He's doing
Well,
it. Yeah.
and with
David
writers and
Cornsweet.
directors. He is in some
Cornsweet.
television shows.
He is, but he's
and he
definitely
needs
not
to
a
change
household
his
name. He does, but he's a Philly boy.
Yeah. So, but my point being,
You're excited for
I
Superman.
don't.
Don't even lie.
Yeah, I am. But I don't believe the solution is keep trying to go after big name, big
Right,
name, big
right.
name people, and that if I'm excited about the big name, I'm going to go see the movie. I think Greg's point is right. If you like the
Yeah.
character,
Go
go
see
see the movie.
That'll keep
if
your
you
joy.
don't like the character, well, maybe.
Well,
it's
unless you do a really
also-
bad
But
movie.
it
also kill
goes
your
with
joy
the directors.
more.
Who are directors of
Yeah.
these Marvel movies I should be looking into? Like directors. Because I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, my favorite Marvel show is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So good.
And it's because the directors and the writers are so good. And the characters are all really good. They're all good actors. And the biggest name, obviously, is Agent Coulson.
Yeah,
but
Clark Gregg.
he's his own category. But
The
point
Russo
is-
brothers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
Russo
the
brothers,
point is it's
yeah.
the directors and the
That's-
writers.
and that's
so,
it.
And they're coming back for these next
I
two.
know, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying is if they jump to somebody who is an up and coming director and hasn't proven themselves, like we
Right.
should have up and coming actors, not up and coming directors. Have directors who've proven
Right, who
themselves,
know they can do some
and
good
they
stuff.
can actually move something forward, and that's what you should do.
Okay.
and like.
Yeah.
And so they're bringing back the Russo brothers is the
Brothers.
right move. Brothers
Brothers.
is the right move. I would
is
really
a good
like
move.
to see, I hope, and we've talked about this before, that everything with making Tony, well, not Tony, but RDJ,
Making RDJ
Doom, I hope they bring in some next up and coming talent around him in that film, and
Yes.
he's able to do a bit of a handoff. So that's
He's
my
not.
hope.
He's going to be you hand off. Oh, you mean for like future phases?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll either die or, like as Doom.
Again.
Well, Yeah.
Well, here's
No
a question:
one
a
dies,
big
no
name
one
director who
dies,
directed
he's
some
back,
non-existent
we
Star
proved
Wars
it.
movies.
There's
is
no one dead.
JJ Abrams. Has he done
No.
any Marvel?
Don't bring him into
Don't
this.
bring him into this.
No. No.
No, because I'm going in the Star Wars direction.
No, JJ. So JJ is JJ. JJ.
Should have ended his career
JJ
at Lost.
Abrams killed the Star Wars universe.
He did.
We
Well,
that's why I
don't
was
want
gonna-
him.
So
And
here's
he
the deal.
also almost ruined the Star Trek universe.
Yes.
He destroyed two
Well, no, he
universes.
didn't.
This
He didn't.
man
No.
is a universe
The third.
killer.
The third Star
bad as
Trek.
Galactus.
The third Star Trek is not JJ Abrams. So the
that.
first two were great. So he did not.
And
ruin
technically,
Star
the
Trek.
second Star Wars, he didn't have any involvement.
Right, the third one he came
The
back.
third one,
I would
they
say-
brought everyone and anyone in for
so
the third one.
The thing is, the
That
thing,
doesn't
failed.
exist.
the thing
Yeah.
I would, yeah, that's right. The thing I would say about JJ Abrams is, unfortunately, I think he's a great talent.
Nope.
Wait, let me finish. I think
Fight him in the
For
street.
Lost,
I
for
think
Lost,
I think he
An
I think
alias.
he typecast himself. I think he created a very niche way of doing things, and then people wanted that, and they didn't want good stories. They wanted JJ Abrams stories, and he took that and ran with it, and it only works in very select things, and it didn't work in the last couple things he's done. And I
Brett.
think that's
Well-
Brett, what are your
shot
thoughts?
himself in the foot.
Brett, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
what do you
on
think about
JJ
Abrams, Brett? He did Lost. He did.
Who's that guy?
All right, let me run through some of his movies. Ready?
I didn't watch it.
All right. Besides Star Treks and Star Wars.
He said,
No, he said I watched Lost. He said I
oh, he
watched
did.
Lost.
Okay, all right.
And was sorely disappointed.
Yes!
The end was
Exactly!
very. So
Because he can't tie anything up.
No,
he can
he-
start things and he can't finish them.
he tied it just in a way that people didn't like.
Done. Out.
Go on. What? He did.
Yeah,
clear
so
what
he did
said.
the Star Wars, the last three that shall not be named. Star
Well,
Treks. He did Lost.
Yeah.
He did Super 88.
Yeah.
Cloverfield.
Which didn't work.
Fringe.
Cloverfield was pretty good.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Nope, that was bad.
Never saw it.
And he was Alias.
He can't
Yeah,
wrap
Alias is
anything.
good.
He
was
did
good. Alias
Mission
was good.
Alias didn't end
Impossibles.
well. People didn't like how Alias ended.
He did Mission
Oh
Impossible.
yeah, that's right. He did some of the Mission
My
Impossible movies.
question
They were
of
okay.
JJ
He did
Abrams
3,
is,
4,
do you-
5, and 6.
Do you think
Right.
that because of him,
that's pretty
it's
good.
added to Star Wars fatigue?
Because of JJ Abrams.
Yes.
No, we're going to talk about Star Wars, and I'm
No.
going to have a whole rant. So I'm just actually going to save
No.
it for that. I'm
Yeah,
good.
I would say.
I'm out on that.
I would
Just,
say
he's bad. He's a bad
JJ
director.
I would say JJ did not create Star Wars fatigue.
He's just a bad
I would-
director.
I would say. Well, so the situation of him getting pulled into episode 9, was not ideal. He had wanted to do the 3. They took him out for the second. Then they brought him back for the 3rd. He tried to kind of wrap it back to the way he wanted, and then he just fan serviced it to death, and it just wasn't good. That being said, I don't think he's the reason
just
people
a
are
big
tired of Star
name.
Wars.
Okay.
He's just a
I
big
think-
name,
yeah,
and he's
I
not
think
a good
people-
director.
I think people are tired of Star Wars because the direction that a lot of the offshoots went.
Sure.
Not-
I'm going to talk about that
necessarily
whole thing
because of
because we're
JJ.
about to talk. I'm good. I need to.
Yeah.
It seems like
you
he
have more?
kind of just.
No, well,
Yeah.
I could talk
Star
all
Wars.
day. Yeah, the Star Wars.
let's do
my
one more.
thing-
Let's do
one
one
He
last-
did
more.
one last
Overlord,
question.
which that was good.
So, do you have to go?
No,
Oh,
he
no.
No, I said he did
Overlord?
Overlord, which is a good movie.
Overlord. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, no, because of that, what are your expectations for the Star Wars universe?
It
coming up?
ends.
Did you see Kathleen Kennedy is retiring?
I
I sent that you guys that
Don't
news post.
Mhm.
care.
Well, no, you should
Okay,
because
Logan,
if she
actually,
leaves,
this is something
Just
Greg was
end it.
telling me. I have to tell you, and you too. You ready? I heard you all did not finish the show Andor. You really need to finish it. And I'm telling you
Nope,
this
I
because,
don't.
well, you don't understand, Logan. We were watching it when
like-
there was
I like her.
civil unrest in my country, and it was something to look forward to every single week.
That's a great.
And there was
That's
politics,
wonderful.
There was political unrest
I'm not going
happening.
to ever take that away from.
And-
Are you kidding me? You're hitting me with civil
And the
unrest.
other thing-
Are you kidding me?
and the thing was,
But
it
here's
was
the
Logan,
reality.
you don't
Every
understand.
single week, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, the politics in this show, and it's so interesting, and it's well written.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good, believable characters, and I think you really need to give it a shot because the second season's coming out, and
True.
they set it up really well for
Yeah.
Rogue One, and also this is for everyone. The next time it comes out, it'll be all out in 1 month. They're releasing
Yeah.
3 episodes per week, and you don't have to wait 3 months for it to finish. And I'm just gonna say, and I know you have a lot of opinions, and the first 2 episodes were like, "Oh, this is so boring. I can't do it, and I can't, and it just doesn't make." And you also said in the podcast, "Well, it doesn't solve anything for me, so no, I'm not going to."
Doesn't.
but that's all right. I still think you need to watch it, and that I'm excited to see where it goes with that. I was talking to Greg. I really like, especially where we have all of the world building in Star Wars, and it's not just about Jedis and everything. There has been a lot of, how do you all say, hot garbage? The Acolyte was hot garbage.
We're in a similar opinion there, especially given.
And they went in their own direction with that, and we watched it, and we're like, oh, this is so strange and weird and full of holes. It wasn't so much the witches and all of the other commentary that was weird of this particular society. It was the show didn't hold up. It had holes.
Can I add something to yours, Katie Beth? I would just with the Andor thing, especially you, not as much you, because I feel like you're a little more open to seeing it, to watching through Andor than maybe Logan is. But
Also busy time in my life, but yeah.
100%.
I'd rewatch it.
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think you're less vehemently like, I will never watch this show. You're just more like, I don't have time, and that's not something I'm going to prioritize. But you, on the other hand, Logan, constantly preach the ending makes the story.
100%.
You have not seen the ending to this, and so you are judging without
Actually,
seeing the ending.
technically, the ending's Rogue One.
No, but even
I have
the
seen
end of
the
the
ending.
end of the season
I have
one,
100%.
it's
This man
quality.
is dead.
And also, have you watched, what's the name of the actor? He was the Baron in Dune. He's
Yes,
the actor in,
Oh, yeah.
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
And also
Yeah.
Gollum, who's the
Yeah,
actor
Andy
who-
Serkis is
Andy
fantastic.
I forgot
Yeah.
he's such a good actor because we've only seen him in CGI
Yeah.
commentary. He is so
He's
believable.
so
Andy Serkis, yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
so good. So I
And
know
I
you have
would-
lots of opinions. I would say please try to finish it.
And I
if
would
you're gonna watch
argue-
with
I got a
Carly-
couple of things.
I'm going
to do them real
Then you
quick
said, the last thing you said, because it goes off what you just said.
because we got to finish
The
this.
last thing is, you know how Cassian ends. You know his story, how it ends,
Yeah.
right? Which is why you're frustrated. I would argue that he is the least important part of the story. He is the element they use to tell everyone else's story.
Yes.
It's about the other people, and he's just the pinpoint that's moving us through time. But it's really not about him. It's about Skarsgård's character. It's about Mon Mothma. It's about Andy Serkis' character. It's about all of them, and he's
World
just
building
our
of
piece.
the rebels.
Yeah,
So-
right.
The
Exactly
Rebel
right.
Alliance.
So
Yeah.
let me go
Go
through
ahead,
a couple of these
say
things.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Mon Mothma is dead.
At the end of
No,
she doesn't
she's
die.
not until
Okay.
Return of the Jedi.
And she doesn't even die there. She's alive.
No,
at the
she's
end.
alive.
Yeah,
She's
Is she
alive.
alive?
We never see her
Oh,
die.
and that's a crazy story too. So you need to look at, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of history of their Chandrilia. That's another
So
world
here's-
building.
So there's that. Okay, and then
Here's
what's the other
the
one?
thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I respect you, Katie Beth. I respect your opinion and all those things. Okay. But I will stare the civil unrest in the face and say, I'm never watching this show.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. We're going to get into it.
pure pride. What's it saying, Ev?
We're going to get into pride. Saying pride. Saying pride.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will get into it. But even if this was, let's just say this was a good show. Okay. And I'm willing to say, maybe I'm wrong. Okay. There's a lot of opinion that people really like it. Okay. I will say that. There is too much garbage that has been created in the Star Wars universe
Yes.
recently.
Well,
Let's
it's
just
adding
talk
to Star
like
Wars fatigue. That's
we
what
are-
I'm saying. We were talking
the-
about this theme of
but-
fatigue.
I am almost at the point, and this is a bit of a hot take, and I'm going to say it when we do the Star Wars thing, of like anything that was good at this point almost does not justify anything that they have done, because there's so much more bad that outweighs it. I'm even willing to lay the Mandalorian at the feet of that and say I would rather have not had anything done with the Star Wars universe after literally the prequels,
Yeah.
and say I would
Sure.
rather have watched nothing and have the Star Wars universe being just 1 through 6 and be done.
I can't lose Clone Wars and Rebels, man. They're so freaking
Yeah.
good.
No, the
Okay,
cartoons.
let me actually. Okay, so no. That is a good point. The
Well, those
cartoons
came
are a
out-
good
those
point.
came out in
But those
in
came
2008, though.
out-
That was with the prequels.
Yeah, so those are
That's what I'm
before the
saying.
original trilogy. So anything that happens time-wise after the original
that
trilogy.
happens after the original trilogy.
So we're keeping the Acolyte
No.
because it was before.
No. I'm not talking
That's
like
the
I'm not
golden
talking.
age.
I'm not
So
talking
no.
timeline wise
I know.
of like
You're talking
it
about
fits in
timeline,
the time. I'm
time.
talking about literal our time,
Literal time.
like our
So
physical
after
time.
2010, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm like I would rather have had nothing.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Nothing. I would literally say I would rather not have had the Mandalorian than everything else that came along with it.
Fair enough. Well,
The Acolyte takes away the Mandalorian justification for me. Like, I love the Sith, and they're
fair
like,
enough.
I'm like,
they ruined it for you.
There's so much bad.
His fight is cool though.
You could even just say 6, 7, 8, 9. Ruined
a lot.
Everything. There's no fixing this at this point.
No,
I don't care that woman resigned. Sure. What are you going to fix?
She hasn't resigned. She hasn't resigned yet.
How do you?
She's retiring.
As a very creative person, can't think of one way to fix this garbage.
Right, except for
I don't care. I don't care about Andor because I don't care about anything.
You've lost all
Well, that's all right because it comes full circle. You know where George Lucas got his inspiration for Star Wars.
I know, Dune.
And so that's why the thing is with full circle, you're promoting all of your energy into Dune.
All the good
I am. I will put it all there.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast of nothing. I enjoy listening to this podcast. And the thing is,
I really like her too because she's got to take everything from you. You can just shut up.
It kind of seems like Greg just brought her up here from Bolivia to support his points.
Well, what you guys don't know is that I'm retiring. She's taking over.
She's taking over.
Oh, it'd be fun. No.
Let's go. I don't need to deal with Greg anymore.
I'll draw up the contract.
There you go, Greg. Thank you, Greg.
The fourth partner's out.
If you want to hear more podcasts of Nothings, guys, it's on our Patreon. So you can't get more of them because they're behind paywalls. We do the whole pay to play here at Legion. You got to pay to play the podcast Nothing. But this one's for free, so enjoy it.
You get this free one.
Why are you looking at the camera?
One free. Why are you looking at the camera? You
because
said that wasn't recording.
I'm so used to it. I'm
said
so
it wasn't
used to
recording.
looking over at the camera.
Jeez, this guy's weird.
All right. Thank you.